I was in Bartlettville, is that how you say it? Bartlesville. That's it. And with their symphony orchestra. We did a piece written by Jim Cockey. He told a story of how the Cheyenne, how the flute came to the people. And when you start out something like that, the composer, they're always telling a story. And they like to use historical things like letters, and posters, even old recordings, things like that. And they're telling a certain story. And we kicked around this idea, Jim Cockey, with the help of another maestro, Jung Ho Pak from Korea. And he said, make a new work. And so Jim Cockey and I, we thought about what should we do. And we thought of a lot of things. And I mentioned our legend, how the flute came. And it's a beautiful, beautiful symphony. If you get a chance to get on the internet, go to giftoftheelk.com, and you can hear it. And it was an awesome experience doing that, doing the flute's classical style. Nothing traditional about it, and a whole different animal. But the legend is there. And when we looked for information about the legend, there were 3 or 4 different versions, and they were all very close. Some of them were very, you could tell that somebody added something in there. One of the versions, there was a horse in the story, and we knew that long ago we never had horses around. In another version, the flute is buried. We never buried things like that, or especially when you pass on. We use sandrock caves. And that's where you go. And so the story kind of starts there. And I would like to share our legend, the gift of the elk. Long ago, there was a young man named Twin, for he was a twin. And they went hunting into the Powder River country. He had a successful hunt, but on his journey home, he was caught by the dark, and he was forced to seek refuge near some sand rocks. He set up camp, and he built a fire, and he ate. Then he heard a sound floating across the hills, and he became afraid, because he'd never heard that sound before. It was beautiful. He went to sleep, and in his dream he heard something above him on the sand rocks. He heard hooves scraping the sand rocks above him. It was the elk. And the elk spoke to him, and he said, I have a gift for you. Take this gift with you and share it with all the people. You are bringing a wonderful gift to all the people. In the morning he awoke, and he went to the top of the sand rocks to where he had heard the elk. And lying there, wrapped in sage, was a bone flute. He took this flute with him, and he continued on home. The elk had instructed him on how and when he should use this gift, of how he should play it in the evening times, especially for all the people. The elk also instructed him on what to do with this flute when he was done in this life. That when he died, that this gift should be taken back to where he received it. And so upon his death, this flute was taken back to the sand rocks. Twin had followed through with this beautiful gift, and with his life, he had spread love, the gift of the elk. And that is our legend, in the form of bone flute. In our archaeologists today have been finding those kind of things around. I heard a rumor that said that these instruments came from Europe. My friend Ruggles kind of teases us all that way. An organ like these big pipes, they were taking it out west. A covered wagon, and the Indians came. They circled the wagons, they were wiped out, and what was left was this organ with all these tubes. And I guess somehow we figured out we could make music with these tubes. I look at that and I laugh. For as long as we've been human beings here, we've had the drum, the rattle, the whistles, the voices, and the flutes. Every culture on this planet has flutes. And so, when I think about it, today the flute is really taking off, and everyone is playing them. Even the women from my tribe, only the men. And I asked my elders why, and they simply said, because the women do not need the flutes. That was their answer. You're looking at one of the first that I made a flute for a female member of my family back home in Lame Deer, Montana. And I took a lot of ridicule, and they were admonishing me, getting after me, because I was changing that. And I'm sure there was others before me doing that. And finally, this older woman, remember her last name, King. And she said, aren't you the one that made a flute for your cousin, Phoebe? I said, yes. And we were standing by the post office. I knew I wasn't going to get away. So I looked at the ground waiting for my whipping. She said, no, your younger generation was changing things. That's what my grandma and grandpa said about us. She said, it's about time. That's what she said to me. And I thought, wow. I said, okay, well, I'm not going to go make flutes for a lot of women from my tribe or anything, but if they ask, I'll honor that. And so when I hear women playing flutes today, I'm happy. It's a good thing. In our tradition, it's more than just a courtship flute. You play it and you play for all the people. You play to call attention to the celebration. Stand there and play your flute. Not common to be a poor and simple